But wait a second, cause I'm getting way ahead of myself. Long before arriving where the edifice dwelt, this high tower, before reaching that turret, our eyes had been summoned upwards to its black summit due to all of a sudden seeing two bright sparks lit at the top and flash, catching the eye in the darkness. And way in the distance another flame signal answered this. So far away it was hard to target, so I turned quick to that ocean of discernment, my guide and master, the noble Virgil, and said, what messages are those first two flames sending? What did the other fire answer? And who set them? And so Virgil in turn turned to say, if you fix your gaze out over the murky waves, the thing which is beckoned will be coming that way. As you'll see, if the foul gas of this morass doesn't get in the way. The string of a bow never unleashed and flicked a deadly arrow from its fearsome grip to slip through the air with a speed so swift as the speed I then witnessed a skiff possess as it sped over the water towards us, with no evidence of how it was being propelled forward, and it was being guided by a single oarsman who hollered, finally, wicked soul, you have been caught then. Virgil, son of Mars, we hear you yell at us, but for once your fiery cries are not relevant. My lord said to him, our time in your custody is temporary, only as long as necessary to get us across this estuary. Virgil reacted like he just heard the fact that he'd been knifed in the back, and we glimpsed the fires of that rage that would have followed when he learned his daughter had been raped by the god Apollo, and he burned down that deity's temple at Delphi. But my guide ignored it and walked straight to the boat to board it. Then he signaled for me to follow him off the shore, and it was only when I got on board that the boat sank into the waters at all. At the exact instant that we had left the banks and stepped on the deck of that boat, it commenced traveling. The ancient prow of the boat splashing up more water than it normally does with any of its usual cargo of passengers. I felt nervous, my rage like a furnace as the boat plowed through the sewage surface. Then a mud-caked muscular person jumped up and grabbed the boat and cried, who are you that comes to this place before your time? And though I was shocked, I angrily spat back in his face. I might be here now, but I'll not remain trapped in this place. Unlike you, look at how you've become so disgusting. He answered, do not pity me now that I am suffering. And I yelled at him, no amount of suffering, weeping and wailing can change the fact that you remain a disgraceful, wicked, despised individual. For in spite of your being hideously disfigured, I recognize you still. Then, like he did once in Florence, he tried to dive at me into the boat to attack, bite and fight with me. But Virgil grabbed that bastard's wrist and threw him into the bogs, yelling, get back down in the broth with the other dogs. And then Virgil passionately hugged me round the neck. He held me close, kissed my face and said, disdainful soul, you are correct to have contempt. Blessed be the woman who fed you from her breast. That spirit when living was riddled with arrogance. He attacked you and prevented you returning to Florence, and numberless other callous deeds accompany his name. So down here he remains afflicted with malice the same. There are so many exalted leaders alive now who will find that when they die they will drown. Down here in the swamp like swines in the slough, leaving only horrible stains on their titles and crowns. And I spoke out, Master, my hate for him is so much, but it would assuage my wrath if I could only watch that loathsome blood choke and cough, consumed in gross broth before we go forth. And he thus replied to me once more, worry not, for well before you see the shore, this exact desire that you have expressed will manifest. But to want to have your revenge is totally correct. And I watched a mass of naked souls getting charged and ready to charge and fling themselves on Philip Argenti. I'll never forget the gloriously gory bloodletting, and will thank God forever that I got to witness it all happen. A huge horde surrounded him and was yelling in a frenzy, kill Philip Argenti! Kill Philip Argenti! And even before they tore him apart to a bloody mess, he was biting his arms to shreds, ripping his own flesh. The boat left that mayhem behind, so no more will I talk of him or bring him to mind. Because at that time, a horrid cry filled these ears of mine, and into the darkness ahead, I fixed my eyes. My master said, listen to this. Right now we're drawing near to the city of Dis, the city in which every citizen lives in perpetual eclipse, in multitudes of a magnitude that defies estimates. And I said to this, I can already dimly detect and discern in the darkness some minarets and domes of mosques, looking vermilion red, as if from a giant fire they were being fed. And he said, yes, but in this place flames do dwell, kindled and lit for eternity to burn and swell. This makes it all look red and gives a sulphurous smell, for now you behold the nether hell. After a spell, as we sped forth on that boat, We reached the zone of the deep set of moats which surround that dark, woeful city entire, whose high walls appear to be made of iron. But before our arrival, our pilot made a wider circuit, and we took in the heights of this furnace-filled city. Then with curses he yelled at us,
"Get off the boat, you wretches! This is the entrance!"
Then commenced a deafening sound like a tornado of shouts and wails of more than 1,000 fallen angels who were stationed guarding the gates of that prison and were livid, spitting,
"Who is this still living without death? Who dares to enter and step into the depths of this kingdom of the dead?"
And just then, my wise guide who was leading me gave a signal that he wished to parley with them secretly. And these former angels, who all still evidently felt in a state of war against heaven, became slightly calmer and did say,
"You come alone, send him home who has so boldly entered our zone. Let him return back along his mad road. If he survives, he'll be permitted to go, but you shall remain here below, you who have escorted him through such dark abodes."
Think a while, reader, how I felt at that time when I heard these threats to myself and my guide. For if I were to lose Virgil next to my side, I'd never return to this dimension of life. Oh, my dear guide, who until now on this ride, more than 7 times have rescued my hide and kept me safe, pulling me back from the brink of many myriad dangers in which I was about to sink. Please, I beg of you, do not leave me here. For if the way forward is no longer clear, and we're prevented from continuing our mission, let's retrace our steps together, back to the beginning. And Virgil, my great poetic hero I had joined with, who had led me this far with no disappointment, said,
"Have no fear, attempting to stop our journey is pointless. None can stand in our way or void it, for it has been anointed, and I have an appointment to parley with those demons. So wait for me right here, don't worry, I'm not leaving. Nourish and comfort your weary spirit and be undeterred, for I will never abandon you here in this underworld."
At that point he goes ahead, and in spite of what he said, I feel a sense of abandonment, doubt and dread, a sense of loneliness to be left by my adopted father, while in my head, knowing yes, each vied to be the master, I couldn't hear the words that passed between them, or what he proposed to these dastardly demons. But he wasn't speaking with them a long time, before they all turned tail and gruffly ran back inside the battlement gates, which went behind. These enemies, as if preparing to fight, slammed tight right on my lord's face, who was still outside, and who returned to me with an uneasy stride, with downcast eyes, furrowed his brow became, and with all of his confidence and pride it raised, and he said with a sigh,
"Who has barred now the way, and denied me entry into the house of pain?"
And now he did say back to me,
"Look, just because I'm angry, doesn't mean you need fear calamity, for I will conquer this challenge that stands in the way. Whatever efforts for defense they have planned within, the arrogance that they currently display is nothing new, for they used it also one momentous day at that previous less secret gate, trying in vain to defend it when the Son of God walked this way, and it still hangs off its hinges, that gate over which you read that dreadful inscription, and right now on this side of it is descending and passing across the circles without assistance, one whose mere presence will rip open the city in an instant."